Did you know that you can retire and play a career and then continue as a manager? Chances are you probably did, but there's so much choice here. There's so many thousands of players out there that it can be hard to narrow down and find the very best options when it comes to picking a believable, recognisable, and most importantly, fun manager for your next career mode save. So that's what I've spent a few hours doing. I've narrowed down 16,000 players to just 5 options that I think have the potential to go on to be elite coaches. Let's begin with a player who's had rave reviews from the likes of Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp and Hansi Flick. If there's one Premier League player that I'd pick to have a world-class managerial career, it was Ilkay Gundogan. Pep Guardiola has repeatedly complimented Gundogan's intelligence and his leadership. In City's treble season, Guardiola called him so intelligent, so clever and competitive, and also one of the best players he's ever trained in his career. German national team coach Hansi Flick also echoed this. He said he's very talented, very intelligent and a great person. Everyone listens to him and he communicates with everyone. Even former Dortmund coach Jurgen Klopp, who of course brought Gundogan through at Dortmund as a youngster, said Ilkay was one of the best players he ever coached. Unbelievable. On the pitch though, Gundogan is a classic central midfielder, of course with a possession-minded philosophy. In Guardiola's system, he often acted as a deep-lying playmaker, where he would dictate the tempo, recycle possession, and make a few late runs into the box to score some goals. In short, Gundogan's footballing style was centred on intelligent positioning, precise short passing, and tempo management, which of course is the archetype of Guardiola's control midfield philosophy. I can see this being the kind of playstyle he'll go for if he does become a manager, a sort of combination of Klopp's pressing and Pep Guardiola's possession. Internationally, Gundogan has thrived under Joachim Löw and Hansi Flick, who both have systems that value possession and flexible midfield roles. Gundogan even played as a false 9 striker during Euro 2020, so he knows all about adaptability. Even recently when he went to Barcelona under Xavi, he experienced the tradition of Cruyffian possession football at its source, and I don't think there's many players out there with better credentials to go out there and become a top-class possession manager. That's why I think that Gundogan would be such a fun manager to play in career mode, trying to see if you can always have more than 50% possession in every single match. While Gundogan has spent time at a few clubs, Seamus Coleman is as close to a one-club man as you're likely to get in the modern Premier League. He arrived from Ireland at the age of 20, and 16 years later looks like he might be about to end his playing career. But when managers like Ancelotti call him an example for others about how you need to be and a great captain, you know this guy has the potential to be special when it comes to being a manager. Seamus Coleman didn't have the most successful career as a player. His biggest honour so far was probably getting into the 2013 Premier League Team of the Season as a right back, but as a manager, I think he has so many qualities that will see him have a better second career. I see Coleman's philosophy more of an old school captain and manager. Just make sure your players are doing the simple things extremely well, make sure everyone's given 100% in every training session, and try to inspire by being the example and setting the example. I wouldn't imagine that his team are going to play like Brazil, but a team of honest professionals that play more like Moyes or Dyche's teams. Fullbacks, of course, will probably be important to his style, as would pressing, 2 things that he was really good at doing. I could see him running a team where everyone needs to give 100% commitment, regardless of their ability, and maybe playing in a 4-4-2. However though, he broke through under Moyes in a 4-3-3 and became a regular in Roberto Martinez's 3-4-3 system. Later, he captained Everton's under Sam Allardyce and Ancelotti, which are 2 very different styles of play. At international level, he's played under Roy Keane and a bunch of other big-name Irish managers, and this experience really does allow you to play in any style. Seamus Coleman could realistically go towards counter-pressing, possession, or direct styles. And again, that's why I think Coleman could be a really fun career mode manager to use. At the other end of the success scale is Sergio Busquets. For the past decade, Barcelona and Spain coaches have constantly praised Busquets' football IQ. Xavi called him one of the most intelligent midfielders he's ever played with, which is a huge compliment. Spain boss Vicente Del Bosque said if he was a footballer, he would want to be Busquets, and Luis Enrique said that he was the leader of the national team. In short, every manager who's ever had experience with Sergio Busquets has loved his understanding of the game. As a player, he was clearly not the best dribbler, he wasn't going to go past 3 or 4 players, but he was so reliable at picking a pass and finding some space. He still impacted games more than basically anyone in any of the teams, and his strength was actually his intelligence. His positioning was perfect to break up counterattacks and then launch the ball forward to maybe someone with a bit more ability on it. His position as the linchpin in possession systems makes me feel that he would probably go for a similar strategy if he was to go into management. Busquets was definitely moulded by Barcelona's possession philosophy under coaches like Pep Guardiola and Tito Villanova, and of course he was also later managed by Luis Enrique, who played a high press, quick transition style. Busquets also played briefly under managers like Valverde and Coleman, but all of these managers always had the club's possession and pressing framework at pretty much the same level. Internationally, it was much the same. Del Bosque was another possession manager, and he was trusting Busquets during Spain's golden era where they won basically everything. After Xavi had some success leading Barcelona, maybe your career could culminate with Busquets trying to match his trophy haul as a manager. If you were to retire at Miami, you'd probably get a few offers in the MLS and in South America, but from there you'd pretty easily be able to move to the Spanish second division, and after a few good seasons in that league, you should be within touching distance of getting the Barcelona job offer. I think Busquets has the potential to become the new Pep Guardiola, and it's not just me who has this opinion, you just had to listen to some of the quotes from his former managers. There's no doubt who the best Egyptian to play in the Premier League is. Mohamed Salah is number 1. I'd probably say Maido was number 2, but then it was a real fight between Amir Zaki, Mohamed El Neni and Ahmed Higazi for number 3. On the other hand, I think El Neni would become the best manager out of all of this generation of Egyptian players. El Neni is also kind of cheating on this list, because if you want to play as him, you'll either need to go back onto FC24 or just create him as a manager instead of a player, but I promise it is worth doing. When managers like Mikel Arteta have singled out El Neni's first team character like this, you know he's having an impact on the dressing room. Arteta said, "What Mo transmits to this team is special. He has this energy as a person, and he likes players who have zero ego, who play for the team and want to contribute regardless of what is going on." Arsene Wenger had similar praise for El Neni, and that's two of the best managers to get praise from. Back when he was a player in the Premier League, he excelled himself at breaking up play, winning tackles, and being aggressive on the ball. His philosophy was always pick the team over yourself. He'd do the unglamorous jobs, which is cover for others, harass opponents, and hold midfield without complaint, which is exactly what Arteta loves in a player. And that's why I can see his playing style being very similar to Arteta. El Neni's already spent a couple of months getting training badges throughout the early 2020s, but seeing as he got some of these training coaching badges at Arsenal, I do think Arteta will probably have the biggest impact on him as a manager. Seriously, I think El Neni will definitely return to the Premier League as a coach within the next 2 decades. If you're interested in a journeyman save, then El Neni is probably the best option in this video. The other players have spent years and years at the same clubs, whereas El Neni has spent time in 5 countries and he's won over 100 international caps. In career mode, I'd probably recommend creating him at Basel or starting your career at Basel in Switzerland before moving throughout Europe. I think that would be such a fun save, and El Neni is such an interesting character if you do read his Wikipedia. Okay, so let's end this video really strong. Casemiro has all of the tools to become the next Zidane, and I fully mean that. While I couldn't find you as many quotes about his personality from managers as I could others in this video, the best one that I could find was from Real Madrid legend Marcelo, who joked, "Zidane would say, you can go forwards because Casemiro will defend." That's the kind of trust that a massive manager like Zidane had in him, and of course, that's the kind of experience that you get when you use Casemiro in career mode. In Brazil's cap, Tito and Luis Felipe Scolari have both relied on Casemiro as a leader, and at home, Casemiro is constantly watching football. He says he watches at least one match every single day. He uses scouting tools to do his own analysis on rivals, and once he even used the platform to spot a pattern in Kylian Mbappe's play, which he exploited in a Champions League game. He says he watches every single league, from China to anywhere. It annoys his wife, but it's his job. His life is football. These are all traits that his former managers have themselves. Jose Mourinho, who promoted him from the second team in Real Madrid, loved his robustness, but Mourinho is famous for using data to try and improve his tactics too. Carlo Ancelotti and Zidane then kept him as the most important pivot during much of their success, alongside Modric and Toni Kroos, trusting him in possession to win it and then to find someone a little bit more creative. Of course, he was a solid midfielder, but a possession game definitely seems to be what Casemiro would use if he became a manager. The constant drive to improve not only helped Casemiro become one of the most successful players in history, but I think it's also going to help him to become one of the best managers in history too. I can see him starting small, maybe starting in South America or the second division in Spain, but before long, I think he'll be reaching Champions League semi-finals, he'll be lifting cups and winning titles, and that's why I think Casemiro probably is the best real player to retire as and manage as inside career mode. His personality is there, his experience is there, and he has a lot of links to a lot of very, very fun and big clubs to use inside career mode. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, learning about 5 players that are going to retire in the next couple of years that I think are going to make elite career mode managers that you can use inside career mode right now. Let me know if you give any of these a go, and let me know where you lead, where your story ends up, because it's super interesting to see. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.